on that map, and you've delivered some really key results against some high-tiered opposition in series previous, and even against Ironblood themselves. So there is definitely room for MIBR to get back into the series, but I still think that with how Ironblood likes to play and approach the game, they're a very momentum-heavy team, and when they have that bit of momentum, they can definitely run away with it.
There's no question about it. I mean, we just got to witness what was an incredible, not only incredible, just flawless CT side, all things considered, and it certainly should build some confidence. I mean, Nuke, definitely a CT-sided map here. You've already identified so many of the different issues that can take place on an MIBR T side, so if you just take some of those same trends and apply them into Nuke, sure, maybe you're not as comfortable, but you have the right idea, you have the right game plan, and kicking things off with a pistol conversion, it would be the cherry on top. Taking some long-range duels outside. There's MIBR, but they're starting to close the distance here slowly but surely, in towards Heaven, but in towards Dare as well, and he tears them up. Oh my god. 3 with the dualies, he does it again. And it's just going to be BRN and JOTA left to try and pull this one back without the bomb in their hands either.
How many times do we have to teach them the lesson that Dare's dualies are one to be feared? Vieira gets one back finally, gets another one, a clean little tap onto the crane player, and he gets another one and a fourth. Stopped by Snav. Oh my goodness, that got close, Cole.
There's no way. That's like the Zywoo P250 clip where you just you're just chatting away there. It's like there's no way this one could go wrong, and then all of a sudden he just pulls 4 kills out of the hat. Luckily, Snav pulls that one back and saves the day there. I mean, Ironblood, honestly, just happy that they were able to close that one out, to be honest with you. And BRN actually going to toss the AK into JOTA's hands. You mentioned it there, but trying at least to do some of the aggressive rifle work here has been, you know, his kind of, I guess, in certain rounds, his role here. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that up in this T side of Nuke, and obviously entrusted with it on this occasion.
And then the force back around it as well. Ironblood timeout, and I honestly think that Ironblood timeout made sense. I mean, you had a kind of a rush of a feeling with Dare's triple immediately being ripped away by Vieira, and then I'm sure the comms must have gotten dead silent after how close it must have gotten. But at this point, now it's JOTA's turn to try to turn up the heat. Dare kicks things off again, opening pick on a turtle, catching him right before that smokes decided to plume. And JOTA just searching for anything, trying to play these open lines and flex the fact that he has this rifle early out in round number 2. But nothing's being offered up to him just yet.
I just want to mention that Ironblood have called out every timeout in this series so far. Whether it be them in the lead or them in the deficit, they have called out every last timeout in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real statement here that they're utilizing that very effectively. Even when MIBR was the team that lost every T round in a row, they never called a timeout. And that, if that trend continues here, it's gonna be some big problems here. So far, their out-of-yard escapade has not worked out in their favor. They've just gotten bested straight through the smoke. Dare finds the opening, and now they have to try their luck over towards another lobby hit, something along those lines. I'm not really sure what the end goal is here. Either way, they're going to walk into a lot of MP9s here and a lot of players crossfiring.
The walkout doesn't present itself to be a pretty result for MIBR. Triple from Shane on the MP9, racking up cash for him. Droid trying to do a little bit of his own Shane impression. Shut down by Henny, but Intra quickly to respond. 2-0 for Ironblood. And again, you get all this outside control. You start to vie for it. You run down the clock. You got a smoke and a Molotov left. And you just press yourself back into upper with a squeak push. A very limp attempt. And it's just shut down. Signs of that overpass T side starting to rear its ugly head here on Nuke as well. Early doors, sure. But I'm starting to see those trends a little early here.
Just all too familiar here. Not only is it trends from overpowers, but it's trends from series prior where this team has struggled to really deliver and the pullbacks of rounds, right? I mean, obviously 4v5s are unlikely to convert here, but when it comes to MIBR, sometimes it just feels like unless someone's just gonna go absolutely nuclear, it's not gonna happen. That's an interesting flash though. Droid throws it through the
I
window
like that.
to maybe help out with some out of yard presence. Obviously not too much impact just yet, but there's a second, there's a follow-up, and now poking their head up through secret. You can respect that little info play from there, playing his cards right, getting that information, letting his teammates have a say in this round, but an AK been retrieved, short-lived as there. He resurfaces here. JOTA though. Response from him. Long range with the P250. He's kept relatively tame here. One more dink. They nearly find 3 kills, and that would have been mission accomplished, but nonetheless, Snav able to pull that one across the finish line.
Not as much damage as Ironblood wanted to take, but it's definitely better than having to force rebuys on 3 individuals. AK's out for MIBR. No AWP for Henny out the gates. Very curious to see what kind of themes JOTA wants to go with here on this T side of Nuke. Big, tall task here to kind of overcome this momentum that's slowly being garnered by Ironblood, because it's building. Whether or not they're aware of it is one thing, but that kind of stuff really creeps up on you before you know it.
There's no question about it. It's building from the last map as well.
Exactly.
So, again, you want to put an end to that. I mean, this has been, what, now 11 rounds in a row that they've been able to get. Not losing a single defensive round so far. So finally getting off that 0 mark from IBR. It could unleash a little bit of a beast. It could start to shake that rust off. I mean, obviously, like we had mentioned, been a long time since this team has played the last official. That's another little edge that we gave to the underdogs here over on Ironblood, but it definitely looks like they're the team that's more ready to play.
End of October was their last official. That's quite a bit of time to kind of get back into things immediately. And now these entries, man, 5v3 early on, 40 seconds left on the clock, and map control, but nothing else to speak of for MIBR. Trying to prime Turtle up outside of the lobby, and Vieira does get a kill on a Heaven, so a little bit more space and definitely a kill coming over would certainly help. But 25 seconds here, Colt. Only 3 flashes to boot. It's got to be this Heaven pop here.
Ooh, Dare finally caught off guard. And they've started to figure this round out. Now, they're going to try their end goal towards this lower bomb site, but Intra still stands and delivers 2 kills. Turtle left last man standing. And again, the clock haunts MIBR. It's such a classic issue here. Plucked out through the smoke. Intra to save the day and bail Ironblood out of that one.
I mean, sure, it's readable that you would go up to Heaven, but at that point, you're killing Vieira. You feel like you probably have a way in if you could pop through Heaven, especially after getting the kill on a Dare. That felt like a shoo-in that they could fly up the ladder. But not this time around, and it comes back to bite them into the open, waiting arms of Intra, and they get punished. Finally, a timeout being called here from MIBR, because these CT rounds have just absolutely put them out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Intra's not been a player that we've brought up too much because he hasn't been required. We've been mostly focusing in on Dare for a lot of the heroics and even Droid with the experience that he brings, but I've been really impressed with Intra as well, with some of his positioning when he's always seemingly in the right spot for these late executes. It looks like he definitely comes in with the right read in a lot of these rounds for Ironblood when they're walking into these bomb sites a little bit haphazardly when there's only 10 seconds left. Intra's the one that's been putting a stop to a lot of these late scenarios here, and he does it once again, and this occasion it keeps their flawless record. It finally forces MIBR to call their first time out.
Finally, something a little bit more fast-paced from MIBR, smoking the Molotov immediately, but they haven't cleared out Hut immediately either. And Droid, he wreaks havoc from the heavens, and Shane from the top of Hut as well. This top execute pop has just been nullified, and it's just exit remaining with this measly Tech 9 and a flashbang set up to fail here. And MIBR, their T-side woes continue.
That's just a bit of a shocking execute right there. It probably shocked Ironblood a little bit, but what's most interesting is there's a crucial lack of a top hut molly, or at least one that didn't connect right there. That's never an angle that you should have to worry about for the most part if you're MIBR on a fast in or upper rush rather. And so you can see what Shane's able to do when there's no top hut molly. He was a lone defender for a little while on that A bomb site, and he just gets away with a relatively easy multi-kill despite all the utility and flashes.
Yeah, and you can see those flight paths were solely in charge of taking care of back silo and maybe a little bit of heaven as well. But there's nobody to even fight at that point. And they're expecting that it would already be a back silo player if Hut was mollied. So maybe a little bit of utility mismanagement there from the Brazilians. But no matter, AWP out for Henny. Nothing to speak of on the other side of things in terms of Ironblood's AWP and Dare. And we've slowed it down to a crawl. A complete reverse of the MIBR playbook as compared to their eco.
Yeah, they're trying to throw a few tempo changes. This is something we really didn't see too much in the overpass map, so that's a good sign. It's a better sign here. Shane's got a pretty tough off angle, and he just instantly lands a headshot there. Again, a fantastic start, but Turtle could have pulled things back, and Shane gonna keep things nice and contained right there. It's all from bad to worse as Dare. He lands the perfect time to flank out towards lobby here. And again, it looks like they're just walking out towards Squeaky Door with a limp, losing their extra prongs.
Yeah, but you have to give credit to Ironblood there as well with that beautifully timed ramp push to really shut things down. They had the read and they took the risk, and it reaped its rewards plenty. And now it's just left Jota to save. Did he read Shane? No. 30 seconds left, and now he's got a hole up here for quite a bit of time. But look at all this utility that Ironblood have. They can siphon Jota out quickly if they so please. They're just pivoting themselves in such a way that they wait for the timer to run out, and maybe they'll try to send some bodies here to try to kill him after time.
They do that. That would be absolutely sick. Now, there's not too much money in reserve, right? So it's not like the point where you get like 8 or 9K for all your players and you can just expend some bodies on his position. Instead, they'll let him save. But I do like that idea of letting him think that he's safe for a little while, and then all of a sudden they all start to close in on you right when the timer's down low and you can only fight your way out. There is no saving. But not the case here. Not at that point just yet. It's still a dominant CT side, though. It's still flawless. They haven't lost a single round in this entire series just yet.
Max loss bonus allows for a prettier eco here. Half-buy situation. AK still contained by Jota, and he's just trying to send it down to Secret, but he takes a nade to the face trying to run down into Secret. This B split's starting to look a little bit meager straight out of the gates, and look at this. Dare's already down, but they're pushing the Molotov and a drive-by headshot from Henny. They've got an opener into the B bomb site here, Cole.
Well, Ka-chow right there. Getting that quick kill, and there's a follow-up. Turtle catches Snav. This faster-paced play is working out wonderfully for them. In fact, it might be flawless for them in this occasion. Droid probably going to have very little say in this round here, and he will be caught off guard. After long last, MIBR have gotten the elusive T round. I don't know if they'll be able to get away with a round like that again. But it's a start. They're off of that 0 mark, and that's what matters most.
And, I mean, you know, those Tech 9 rounds, I mean, even in Tier 1, it's always been a situation when you're going up against that CT wall, you get a little lax, and you got a Deagle headshot go your way, you got a drive-by Tech 9 headshot go your way, and that's kind of stuff that starts to show a little bit of the cracks in the defense, and that's where you start to really pry open the half and edge your way back into it, because that's the only way you can. It's got to be bit by bit. You can't just collapse an entire defense, especially on a map like Nuke, that quickly. So, MIBR do it flawlessly. They've got a lot of money to play with now, and they're pivoting at A.
Utility this time as well. This time there is those extra mollies that get the job done, but Shane is an absolute turret. Head on a swivel, and he finds 3 kills. He's looking for more. Snav has come in recovery, and it's going to help out. That's exactly what you want your anchors to do. have that opportunity to hold down the line versus multiple different angles, versus multiple different players, and finds all three. That is so fantastic from Shane, and he's been doing that for years with this roster.
Man, after those 2 kills, I'm like, hey, if I'm an IGL, I'm very happy with you getting 2 kills in that situation. But the third, the snap back onto the left side of back silo, that's just disgusting. And then he stalls. After that, he plays it even better. He stalls for so long to activate his Heaven player as well. MIBR just gets outclassed in that upper execute there. And I was speaking about the number of chances that they have. And they're out upper again. They want to challenge yet again. But Henny with the collateral.
Well, that's one way to pull it back, but look at the wall that they're running into once more. 1, 2, and now just Henny to topple. Right around the corner. They're going to double peek him. He does it again. I can't even fault them for falling to Shane right now. This time MIBR, they're not even going for some of the mid-rounding. They're just taking the fight to Shane here. And Shane's passing the test every last time.
And this time they're goaded into the A-bomb side with that collateral, and I don't even blame them. Getting the double kill onto the Heaven players, maybe you just trade in effectively into the back silo player, but again, Shane managing his angles absolutely to a T. And the trading just isn't there for MIBR. You leave Henny into some impossible post-plant situation, not even post-plant, just late round situation. They're not even getting the bomb down here, Cole.
Yeah, here's that extra element. Now, Dare, obviously, I think he's slightly slowed down, but also in his positioning, he hasn't been necessarily needed in a lot of these rounds. But who stepped up to the plate here is this A-anchor. Every last time that he has been aggressed on, he has gotten 2 or more kills. The only time that hasn't taken place is that one round where he got lower executed upon. He wasn't able to find anything there, but this is just incredible what he's been able to do so far.
Maybe that M4, A4 is actually in his favor. The meta trying to sway into his favor. I mean, there definitely is a case of certain weapons just feeling better in certain individuals' hands, and it looks like Shane, he's found his gun for the time being. The A4 singing mighty fine. Outside cross smokes have come through, and they've gotten lower control, very similar to that eco round that came in their way. But this time, they're not trying to push the issue down into secret. All the way into the B bomb side. Dare's watching into the radio angle. I do believe they have a ramp set up as well, so it's not too big of a risk. But here comes that B split.
Honestly, a position that they haven't tested all that often here. But Intra passes his first test. An opening pick goes their way here. Now, MIBR again have struggled in positions like this, but what I like is that they're doing a good job of taking some of this space. They have a great foothold in this round at the moment. Confirming is a whole other task, though. BR going to toss that smoke on in to allow them to scale even further, but 25 seconds left on the clock, and there's still 2 players in this lower bomb site here, so the job quickly becomes very difficult. They need rotators, and they need them now. 15, time ticking down so quickly here.
Now they finally get a kill back. Exit and JOTA finally getting the entries they asked, but Dare, he's still here. He can stop this whole round, and he gets the bomb planter, and there's no more time. They did not clear dark for the whole round. And even with those 2 picks, MIBR cannot close the round out. A 9th on the board for Ironblood, and Dare rips away yet another round on the CT side.
Dude, they had a molly for it, but somehow he wasn't ticking to it. He wasn't burning. Oh, what an absolute utter disaster here. MIBR. Actually, this time it's Ironblood calling out the timeout here. I cannot believe it, what they're getting away with.
Ah, man, I mean, it's the same gaps that MIBR found in their round 1 previous. It felt like a slam dunk. They're getting the double kill as well. But the Molotov, it gives them false information. It gives them false hope, thinking that dark is clear. Oh, and it just falls apart. Back-to-back timeouts here. One from Ironblood. Or actually, no. I think it's Ironblood calling for 2 tack pauses back-to-back, trying to maybe plug these gaps a little bit more, understanding that, hey, our B is pretty susceptible here. If it wasn't for the heroics from Dare, we lose that round 9 times out of 10.
That's an excellent point right there. That's an excellent point, right? MIBR starting to, I think, really figure out this T side somewhat. I know that the scoreline doesn't look like it, but that last round realistically should have been MIBR's favor, despite that early pick that Intra found, right? They had the man advantage, and like we've been saying all game, the man advantages have looked very comfortable for Ironblood in the closing stages. They've had the right reads, they've had the right reactions, and finally, I don't think that was the case here for a round. They just got blessed by the molly not spreading to Dare, and calling up a double on the timeout, maybe one to discuss the heroic to Dare just committed there, and you know, be quite happy about that, but the second one I think is to really buckle down and make sure that they batten the hatches here as they move in quickly down the vents. Again, MIBR able to take a great space in this round here. Triple up down the vents, and they catch one off guard. I thought they did, but Intra still converts at least one, drops the bomb as well. Buying even further time. JOTA gonna get hunted by the MP9. And no escape allowed for JOTA. In fact, everyone starts to fall.
Man.
Oh, no,
They've got the upper lurk as well. Biera goes down, and blink and you miss it. Ironblood's got double digits. Oh, man. I mean, I was going to say, what a call for MIBR. They understand to be susceptible. Instead of trying to draw out the round, maybe pick up the pace. You get the vent dive in, you get the kills. At least the 1-for-1. I mean, getting a 1-for-1 on the B anchor, you take that every day of the week if you're the T's. But the immediate rotation from Dare, the utility set that he brought forward, it's just too hard to overcome. The CTs are just living life large right now. Scratching your head are the Brazilians, and JOTA, what must this guy be thinking at this point in this much of a deficit?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're getting worked right now. That's the issue. I mean, at the end of the day, MIBR, they've got the support staff, they've got the coaches, they've got a whole lot on this roster to try and figure out some of these issues, and they're getting picked apart by a bunch of plucky underdogs right now. Obviously, I mean, something that we've always touted Ironblood is their firepower, but they're winning at almost every aspect of the game here. But this time again, opening pick found Turtle, oftentimes effective in that squeaky door, and he's going to get away with one in this occasion. Again, this great space, this great foothold is going to allow them to continue their success here. But not Shane, not again. He can't get it for a third time. There's just no way he's able to get more than 3 here. But he's certainly going to need it. As JOTA finds another kill towards the outer yard.
And they're still sitting on this mini control. They don't want to pull the plug just yet. But Intra gets a little bit of information, gets the trade onto Turtle, and now this might goad MIBR to going back into this upper bomb site. Shane is still here. Shane is still here to shut things down, and he's done it multiple times. And it's all up to him yet again. He gets one, but that's all. The heroics end here. And surely, Cole, this is the second round conversion here for MIBR.
I was going to say, right, I mean, Shane has been flawless in the back of silo position every round, but this time he's kind of forced into a very awkward position. Intra walking right into the open arms of JOTA, who almost landed that shot. But JOTA will find the exit kill right there, not allowing for the save, which is actually very important here because all of these close rounds have come calling. Ironblood definitely needed that one. And they're starting to feel a little bit of the firepower that MIBR have. Some nice shooting from JOTA towards the outer yard. Is exactly what the doctor ordered here, but playing a very safe game. Are they really going to call out a save here? Wow, 5K for Droid, Shane on 4K.
I mean, you think from their perspective, right? Their first stage loss bonus, things can get really bad to worse. You could turn a potential 13-2 half into a 10-5 half, and you definitely don't want that against the likes of an MIBR, who certainly have their CT protocols down to a T. You don't want to give them space, and instead maybe try to let these 5-7s work in these close range angles. It's definitely a risk, but I think this might be the economically savvy decision to make if you're Ironblood. It's not the most fun decision, but it might just be the right one.
I want to add to the equation as well. This was the scoreline that Ironblood got in their last head-to-head versus MIBR. It was a 10-5 half. to kick it off. And we might get that replicated here if MIBR continue to find the flaws in this lower bomb site like they have been doing. Because if MIBR can hold them off at 5 rounds, I think they can win the mental battle here. The knowledge of knowing that this is exactly how we closed out the last series versus this team in the last map on Nuke versus the same roster.
Dare goes ahead of the Molotov. The ticks are heard by JOTA. And now the dominoes start to fall here for Ironblood. Bomb plant secured on the bottom lower bomb site. And just exits looking likely here for Ironblood, but not necessarily finding anything. I do say that. And immediately Droid gets a quick little kill with Turtle. And MIBR, they're really trying to hunt and see if they can rip this immediately away from Shane. But at the end of the day, it's a 3rd round for MIBR. And guns should be reclaimed for Ironblood. And I believe they should have it for the rest of the half as well, regardless of game state. Which all in all is a net positive for them. You want to have all the cards in your hand to try and push for a 12-3 half here. You really, really want it.
Yeah, that's the benefit of playing this one safe, is you kind of give yourself 2 opportunities. At least in this next round, they probably won't have the best of buys, but they'll still have a purchase to do damage. And that's much more better than just getting a quick and on easy closing of the half here. But quick tech pause here that should be resolved pretty quickly. We should be getting back into play very soon. Either way, very excited for MIBR to actually be punching back on this T side, because I think if we would have just seen them bail out of this series, you know, kick off their ECL debut in this sort of rough fashion, then it wouldn't be the ideal start to the season. There are some very competitive teams in their group. I mean, just to add some names there, Strife is a team that's been showing some decent ability. They got the firepower. EG as well, making some changes there, making some great introductions. You know, alongside that, Team 1 is here, so there's a lot of deadly rosters in this group in particular.
Yeah, you can't take any team lightly at this point, especially if you start off with a poor campaign debut. I mean, that's when things start to get in teams' heads. Players start playing in certain situations that they wouldn't normally play in, and that's when you really just get in your own head, and you want to quell that before it gets out of hand. And it starts with series like this, where you're expected to be the heavy overdogs and expected to trounce, honestly, all of the opposition ahead of you. And for Ironblood, man, to have this kind of win and then stay undefeated in your group, they'd be just so excited for the season to come. Just to go 3-0 to start your ECL campaign. That's just fantastic.
There's no question about it. That'd be an absolute dream for these players right now. Again, starting things off very hot in the season with multiple wins over some of the teams that they should be beating, right? You got the Snake Stints and the Detonates that they've been closing things out. But this is something that I said walking into this series, right? This is their first test at what is one of the top caliber teams in ECL in MIBR. Now, besting them, that would be a proof of concept for what this team can show so far. But they still have a little bit of a hurdle to get through. And back to the A site, MIBR go. A lot of success over towards B, but this time testing it out towards A. Flies once again, ready to stand, and he does find 2. He does it again here, turning his attention towards that right side. It's only an HE that can finally put an end to things, but they have deleted him. They've taken him out of the server. Dare.
Oh,
what did he
Dare!
just do? Did he just find that on the ladder?
I
There's
think
no
he
way.
did. Oh my god, I think Dare just flew up the ladder, no-scoped. All the luck going in Ironblood's favor right now. They can do no wrong. Shane with a beautiful double on the back silo yet again. And man, an 11th round, and in what kind of fashion here for Ironblood.
I mean, again, I can't even really fault MIBR for losing some of these rounds. Shane just does a phenomenal job again holding down the same bomb site, and what are you supposed to do when you just get no-scoped here on the ladder on a site hold? There's not a lot of chances to reply when that takes place here. Not a single chance for Turtle or BRN for that matter. As it is Iron Blood looking to improve on prior results on this defensive half.
This is the worst case scenario for MIBR. You've got both rounds in the palm of your hand at the tail end of this half for Iron Blood. Momentum, scoreline, series situation all in your favor. The confidence at an all-time high for Iron Blood. And they're looking to get a 12th on the board heading into their T side. What a story to continue just this exquisite start to their ECL season for Iron Blood. To topple your group's favorites this early on. What could it mean to these guys?
That kill feels like a bit of a consolation prize, but right now, like you said, this would mean everything for Iron Blood. Again, playoff contention kind of on the line here with, you know, 5 competitive teams that can do some damage in Strife. Team 1, MIBR, EG, and Iron Blood themselves. But closing out that half, straight to the smoke. Intra, who's been locking down that ramp setup, finding big multi-kills. He actually saved one of those rounds as well. It's got to be very, very much so a confident scoreline right there. Confident improvement on prior results for Iron Blood.
And they've been doing fantastic on the pistols. Pistols have not been any issue for them by any means, especially when you've got Dare on those dualies. I've high expectations for Iron Blood to have a game plan here to close things out. Again, I mean, we talk about the cliche all the time, but this pistol is everything. It really just decides the series entirely. A huge proponent of MIBR success on Nuke comes on that CT side. Their protocols are airtight, and that's where they get their jobs done. Primarily through all of their maps of the pool, even on our potential decider of Vertigo, that's where they get their best work done. So it's going to be very close, I feel, in this second map. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with potentially the last half of play here in our series between MIBR and Iron Blood.
Shine away from the shade, but not away, ain't no going back. Never let you double cross them. Moving through the city like it's Gotham. They told me get one, so I got one. Stop saying you're a boss when you not one. You ain't sacrificed, nah, you ain't lost none. All over the gram like you got a bag.
And we're back here once again with second half of play here. And Nuke maybe looking like an early exit for MIBR, much earlier than they anticipated here in this series, taking on Iron Blood. And they have come back with vengeance, that is certain here. They've got, what is it, only 4 rounds that they have left to close out this series and honestly dominate over MIBR. And that would be such a great way to kick off this team's season.
I expected this to be a quick series, but not with the result that we're currently being given. I thought this was going to be MIBR every day of the week, especially with the veto that they've been dealt. But it isn't to be. Heroics from Shane on the upper bomb side anchoring. Heroics from Dare with some incredible AWP shots. And now It's all to play for here. Henny with dualies of his own. And we're looking at an immediate ramp rush. JOTA with openings.
And this is much more like any chewing through every last soul. Dare the only one to able to reply right there, but Dare doing his very best to deliver that round. Henny just mows them all down. He gets his revenge right there, and Ironblood, this is not the way they wanted to kick things off, because like we said, if this would have been a pistol for their favor, they would have been very quickly in a position to close out this map. Instead, we see some delays in that factor, and if Henny starts to warm up, especially with how important those CT side rotations can be, like you mentioned, these protocols are down pat. It's going to be hard to close out those 4 rounds.
I'm not usually going to be the one that says, look, man, an 8-round deficit is even easy to overcome, but with a map like Nuke and with a team like MIBR, this is one of those situations where things can start to get real ugly real fast. It's very difficult, again, to overcome a deficit like this just because there's so many factors that could eventually go against you, that you drop the ball around here, that you drop an eco and things spiral out of control and you lose the game. But with a team like MIBR, I have full faith that we're going to get a very, very nice half out of them, especially on this defense. But with that full eco, again, economically wise, these guys are playing pretty intelligently, Ironblood. They're managing their finances quite well, and they've got their AKs out immediately. A Krieg, surprisingly, for Dare. Maybe trying to take an outside duel early. But more importantly, Henny with an AWP on his side, heading into round number 18.
Yeah, I've been really impressed here. It's very disciplined what they do with their money, which is promising because this has been a roster that oftentimes is touted for their firepower, but I think people might need to start looking at them another way and in a new light of eyes, because they have been very disciplined so far this series. They've been very effective. Everyone's doing the roles and they're doing them well here, but clearing out this angle is so incredibly difficult. BRN gonna crack through too. It's actually nailed the timing with Henny rotating just off of the ramp side of things, but is able to recover in time to at least find 1 kill there. Grenade for the double doors. Gonna make things a little more interesting, but we'll have to close this one out. Dare, who's had a hell of a series so far, and Snav as well alongside him.
And this is a mighty difficult round to pull across the line if you're Ironblood. And he's got all this hell control. He's got Mini to watch over as well. And here's that decision. Ironblood want to pull themselves over to hell, maybe go up into heaven. Or maybe down even to the lower bomb site. Snav trying to peer into his domain. But JOTA's here waiting in open arms. So 30 seconds here left on the clock. Do Ironblood even want to bother going for this, or do they want to just hold on to their weaponry? It doesn't matter to Henny because he's ripped away the Krieg from Dare's hands, and it's just snapped up to bat. Not long for this world. 15 seconds left. Maybe he gets a plant here. Ooh, JOTA allows it, actually.
Probably best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome if you're Ironblood, at least in the context of the situation, of course.
Right.
You'd love the round, but a bomb plant is definitely a great parting gift.
Yeah, 1 on 4, you actually give yourself an opportunity, specifically with JOTA's solo aggression, to maybe find a couple of kills as well. So, you know, if you could have found 3 kills in total in that round for Ironblood and the bomb plant, and the 4 on 2, I mean, you'll kind of take that one, even if it doesn't go your way. Now, that's not the case here in today. As we can see, they do not find those extra kills, and so the CT side economy is going to start to build up a nice little foundation. Now, not there just yet, and they're up against another half by. Here's where they have to make sure things are nice and tidy in MIBR, and they've been doing a good job of that so far.
So far, so good. These are the rounds that can sometimes be the most difficult when you're trying to ramp up in terms of momentum, and they're straight out of Hut and Squeaky, but very similar to Ironblood on their CT side. It's an absolute shutdown. Vieira pushes through lobby to shut down Snav, and we're back to 7. You were asking for a clean round, Cole, and we got it.
Yeah, this is going to build up the bank quite nicely here. Hovering around the 5,000 mark for a lot of these players is so promising. Ironblood obviously getting those reinvestments on back, and once again, these 4 rounds, they become very elusive for Iron Blood. By no means is this an easy closer here on this map specifically, and without winning that pistol as well. Something that they were able to do again in their prior result. They only got 3 gun rounds last time that they played MIBR on this map. On the T side specifically.
And the one thing that you could definitely try to work into your advantage as a T is messing around with that fickle CT economy. And you don't even have that buffer anymore. I mean, I think at this point, 5 rounds to cut down, MIBR is probably going to have buys for 4 out of those 5 rounds. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to win gun round after gun round.
3 mollies up here for Snav.
That's odd.
What's he got in the store here? He just threw one out towards the top of hut, hoping that it would actually offer up a sound cue, and it did. But he just gets right on back towards the top of hut here. Once again, establishing himself. Now, one molly is definitely going to be tossed in towards the back of silo. And this is just going to be a set piece from Iron Blood right on towards that A bomb site. But good repositioning from JOTA. Another molly towards the top of hut. There's the back of silo one. This execution sure to follow suit here. But Shane finds the first out in no man's land. His exit, but he holds the line for 1 and a second as well. But eventually he does get overrun here. That HG's going to do so much damage. They line up for Snav, who finds the first kill there to extend play, but unable to get the numbers punched in. Droid, he has to stick it. He has to commit to the bit, and he won't be able to. MIBR stealing that round away. JOTA with a 3K, delivering big time.
JOTA from the heavens, exit from bottom silo. I mean, it feels like deja vu, because if he switched the nameplates, you would have had a very similar situation to what we got in that first half from Iron Blood. Shane and Droid doing their fair share of work. But they just gave a little bit too much room to MIBR. They weren't able to trade as efficiently as they would have liked. Those angles to overcome on those corners on Squeaky are really hard to trade and to effectively 1v1. We've gotten a player down lower. Vieira should have been calmed over. He's blown open the double doors. So awareness from MIBR again. Those protocols looking really, really good to at least have these fail-safes in case things go awry. And Iron Blood just have to sit outside and wait for something to be gifted on over. Maybe try to take some of the secret control and mess with these rotations, because so far upper is not for sale.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very clear set piece that they just attempted. And honestly, they did take a lot of space, but they couldn't convert it. They needed to maybe get a better foothold on that A bomb site, and trade's just not favoring them. Although I think that is something that they could maybe wield in their back pocket. Keep that in mind, Iron Blood, because you might be able to use that later down the line. It was a pretty good idea that they had set in stone. Dry peeks out towards Secret, though, and everyone makes it down. Very minimal damage converted as well, and already with that deep positioning, cutting off rotations, the job for BRN gets a little bit difficult. Now, luckily, Henny's come in rotation again. Protocol set in stone here, especially with the information that they have, but a nice jiggle right there, denying access and information. Shane not going to let him get away with too much just now. And peeking out here, crossfire established, but BRN has to keep his head turned. And eventually he will be overrun, but all the numbers overrun. Flooded in towards SP bomb site intra. Gonna get caught by Turtle. And this is what you're talking about. They just have the rotation. They have the right reads on the CT side, and this is why MIBR, at the turn of this half, was still in this game.
Yeah, and only a single flashbang. You don't even have a situation where you can prime that and try to maybe trade out something. It's just too clean. The triple rotation down into lower vents was completely cleared. They gave up that part of the map, and it just gave them free reign to just let loose on these Iron Blood players. Ego doesn't go as planned, but maybe the rifles will. Need to open single. Molly on to Mini. But no aggression off the back of it. In fact, it damaged the other way. Now they're just trying to contact. They got all this control. Maybe they want to boost up, fight for hut, but they make a sound cue. Two of them.
Desperately Dare just gets down the vents, which actually is the worst case scenario. And Turtle, he gets peppered on back through the smoke, so Droid able to pull things back here and get out of dodge as well. Again, Dare has snuck his way down into that lower bomb site. So even though the situation looked so incredibly awkward for Iron Blood, somehow they come out in favor. Short-lived though, as Henny and JOTA pull things back. Another tag landed here, and that's bomb converted right to the palm of the hands of BRN. Expecting that maybe there wouldn't be that hefty of a ramp setup. Smoke to isolate this duel here. Shane looking to move on past it, jiggling out that shot. We will find one more, and Shane starting to continue his performance from that first half. It's Jordan Shane now. This dynamic duo that we saw on this A-bomb site looking to pull back this one in the 2v2.
Sneaking their way down to the lower bomb side, honestly. Not too much of a surprise here for Jota. Gets one kill back, and it just leaves it up to that aforementioned hero of map number 2 in Shane. 22 and 15, looking for 24. 20 seconds left on the clock, and he's really got to pick his fights here. Got to take a risk somewhere, and as this smoke fades, and he tries to punch the digits, that double door can just be swung right open. Just playing with his food here is Jota, and single is going to be the final place where Shane actually doesn't look towards, and he gets punished for it. 12 rounds only for Iron Blood, and those 4 rounds seem so far away.
Yeah, it'd be a bit wild to see two T sides that bear absolutely no fruit in Overpass and Nuke, but it very well might be what we get if Iron Blood can't start to change. Close out some of these late rounds here. They're getting some damage done though. That's what's promising. Not the bomb plant in that last one. That probably would have given them another buy, but they're doing damage here.
Look, those 3 rounds that MIBR had, regardless of how difficult they might have been, they still found a way to look for holes and really get into the heads of Iron Blood in their rotations. But that isn't to be the case on the other side of things. Iron Blood haven't shown that they can find cracks in the defense. They haven't, and now they get punished. Jota with 2 immediately. And so this upper hit that's potentially on the cards here just gets stopped in its tracks immediately. Iron Blood have not found any answers as compared to the few that MIBR were able to find on their own offense.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? MIBR, there's very few weaknesses that this roster has on this map, right? There's no, pressure point that can be pressed upon that starts to make them feel a bit uncomfortable, and that's what we saw from Iron Blood, right? Outside of a lot of clutches going their way and a lot of saving graces, big multi-kills, performances from Shane, there was some slight flaws that could have come calling if MIBR were playing at 100% right now. But MIBR, just playing out their CT side that they bring to the table every last time that they close this one out. The game plan's all set in stone here. There's no need to get fancy with it. They have the right rotation. They have the right reads. And for Iron Blood, it's becoming very quickly a tricky T side to work with here. No avenues, no opening opportunities. Very few given from MIBR.
They're trying to be a little bit more aggressive in lobby. Isn't given anything. MIBR have walked the tightrope of passive and aggressive play very well here throughout this defensive half. And now you start to get a little bit of aggression from Henny with his I believe that's his secret. He gets rewarded. 1 kill for him. Jota with another. And Henny's absconded. He's completely just fled the scene. 5v3. Again, a man deficit situation. How many cases are we sitting ourselves in where Iron Blood have to play with a man deficit? It's just not to be. And another flawless round here from the Brazilians. Nothing to speak of from Iron Blood.
Yeah, tied up very quickly here. Like you said, just not a single peep out of that last round. Nothing to be said here. And Iron Blood quickly getting haunted by some prior results here. Again, a struggle to close out this despite promising CT halves here. This T side is so difficult up against this team. They can't get the job done here. They can't start it off again. Turtle, he's gonna lock things down. It's that mix of aggression and passive play that's going to allow them to open up proceedings here. Although a couple of players reloading their weapons right now could allow for them to get some good footholds here. And Truck, that's a nice shot. And that's exactly what they needed here. They need a whole lot more than just one nice 1D to get into this round. They're trying to sneak their way down the fence, but I think they got blocked.
Yeah. But they finally do find the ladder eventually. Another Deagle
Oh!
headshot offered up to Intra. Henny's AWP quickly recovered.
No
And now
way.
they've got a lot of control. It's this lower anchor here. MIBR, head on a swivel, but he can't even manage one. 2v3 situation. This is the best case scenario for Ironblood. They've got to be able to convert this. They can't let go.
Oh no. Entra. He's a little bit far removed from the situation right now. The rotation that he has to make needs to be perfect. And right now he's going to slip down the vents right behind him. Will they be anticipating this? Close by. Exit, watching secret. He's able to react in time. And another kill. It's not planted for Droid. He only has a Tech 9 long range. He starts to push on in. And Turtle will close it out. Oh my goodness. They don't convert that round. It looks so good for them.
They got the post plan. You got even an angle in watching the vent rotate. You shut things down. There should be no reason why Turtle should be getting down and fighting your B players. That it makes Droid look silly. You think, why is he all the way back in a ramp? Well, he's fully expecting that there'll be nobody coming from the lower bomb side. He's cutting off rotation of the other side of the bomb site. And he gets punished. Goose egg on the T side of Nuke here for Ironblood. And MIBR, this is just too easy for them. JOTA with the kill onto Dare. This is just pandemonium. Completely controlled by MIBR.
Yeah, this is brutal stuff, man. And he's gonna continue it. Every last line covered here. They're not gonna get anything done. Turtle again finding success in his oh so frequent position of the closed event there, and Shane left last man standing. Looking to do something on this T side. Looking to finally get off of that 0 scoreline here, but the trends will continue. This second half turnaround, these second half T sides have bared absolutely no fruit for either team. And Henny rolling back the years with that flick.
Man, I mean, you really think that if you're Ironblood, that is just the most mentally defeating round that you could lose. Round number 25. You get so close to finally breaking that curse and having it just ripped away from you. Losing a lower bomb site bomb plant. That's just so utterly defeating, and you can just see the money has been all over the place for Ironblood. Rifle buys, even in situations where they shouldn't be happening. You do have another vent dive coming through, but Droid gets immediately shut down from JOTA. Again, the communication is so on point on this defensive half. MIBR look like a team possessed ever since the half switch. They want to push it to ramp, but they can't get Vieira off the lines. They do finally trade Shane, the shining star of Nuke, and the real beacon of hope for Ironblood. He's still trying to get his way into the bomb site, but JOTA, beyond the grave, has just been an absolute nuisance. 15 on the board, match point secured. And Cole, I think we're heading to Vertigo.
There's no question about it. I just don't know if they're going to be able to mentally bounce back from this, right? This is haunting. I mean, MIBR even improving on what Ironblood could do on their defensive half, winning, what was it, 13 rounds in a row?
Yeah.
To close this one out, so incredible stuff. MIBR, I mean, obviously we're just kind of assuming that they will win this round because it's hard not to. Like you said, there's no weakness in MIBR in the way that they're playing the CT side, or at least we haven't been able to see it because everyone's been stepping up to the plate. The only time that they've had a chance, and it's been shut down by maybe some small misplays, maybe some heroic moves, and some great game sense coming through from MIBR on those 2-on-3 retakes. Either way, this game looks all but over.
We've spoken about momentum time and time again throughout the series, and while it can be beneficial for Ironblood, they're a young group of fraggers. I mean, this is a squad that, while they can revel in their successes with huge streaks, they can also find themselves in ruts that they can't dig themselves out of. It's been a huge issue for the core of this squad. And now we're getting to a crossroads, especially with that opening pick going in the favor of Henny, where you're going to have to dig yourself out of a real mental rut. And if we want to talk about the development of this Ironblood squad, we got to see a reinvigorated Ironblood on Vertigo.
Yeah, we're going to see them at their peak here. Again, this last head-to-head kind of haunted them. It's going to really come down to, I think, the side selection and who's going to get that CT side start. But either way, a last-ditch effort towards this A bomb site. Jota going to lock it down here. Low HP bar is still standing. There's one player tucked in towards Tetris. They're all walking into the meat grinder. It's just there. The guy who closes out last map is going to be closed out upon in this one. It's flawless defensive maneuvers from MIBR as they seal the deal on Nuke in an incredible fashion.
0 T rounds from Ironblood. That is just crazy to me. Especially after how efficient they were on Overpass. You saw that they actually knew how to work that map very well. But it just seemed like a lot of just key mistakes, just misunderstandings of CT rotations, and